Howdy, howdy, friends and neighbors. This is your old pal B coming to you from deep in the jungles of Java. Welcome to Radio Farside, where we make yesterday's common sense sound like tomorrow's radicalism. We're creative anachronists for an authoritarian age, and proud of it. Today's topic, tariffs. Specifically, the entirely predictable, almost comically overwrought reaction from geezer media to Trump's latest tariff proposal. If you tuned in to any of the usual suspects, CNN, CNBC, the New York Times, you'd think he just threatened to annex Greenland or something. You've got commentators wheezing into microphones about the return of economic nationalism, as if protecting one's own economy is some kind of humanitarian disaster. Let's call it what it is. They're not afraid of a trade war. They're afraid of losing control over a trade racket that benefits them, the multinational class, at your expense. Quick pause. If this already makes more sense than a month of panel discussions on MSNBC, do us a favor. Subscribe, share the episode, rate it 5 stars unless you still believe NAFTA created jobs. We're not here to win friends, we're here to make sense. Now back to the carnage. Here's what tariffs actually do for those who haven't had their brains melted by a Harvard Business Review podcast. First, tariffs restore leverage. You want to import cheap electronics from a strategic rival that openly despises you? Fine, pay the tariff. That's not isolationism. That's terms. You don't walk into a poker game and just hand over your chips because free market principles. Second, there will be short-term pain. Imported goods might cost more. That's called reality. It's the price of undoing 50 years of economic codependency engineered by MBAs who treat the U.S. workforce like an inconvenient line item. Think of tariffs as economic rehab. Unpleasant, necessary, and long overdue. Third, this isn't new, this isn't dangerous. This is how America built itself. It didn't become a superpower by letting Britain and Prussia dump cheap goods on it. America used tariffs, strategically, thoughtfully, successfully. Now, the geezer media class and their overlords don't like this. It offends their effete cosmopolitan instincts. They like their global order nice and predictable. Foreign sweatshops abroad, stock buybacks at home, and cheap consumer goods to pacify the unemployed masses in between. They're worried Trump's tariff push might actually work, that it might trigger investment in American manufacturing, repatriate capital, and restore strategic industries. And let's be honest, they can't have that. It threatens their entire post-industrial fantasy world. The real objection to tariffs is ideological. Globalists don't want national borders to mean anything, economically, culturally, or politically. Tariffs imply that a country has interests worth protecting, that there's a difference between us and them. That maybe, just maybe, a government's primary responsibility is to its own citizens. And that, dear listener, is the true heresy. So yes, tariffs, properly applied, are a tool. A blunt one to be sure, but a useful one. They help realign incentives. They restore industrial capacity. They remind the world that the U.S. economy isn't just a passive marketplace for foreign junk, but a nation capable of producing, building, and competing. In the short term, some discomfort. In the medium term, domestic retooling. In the long term, strategic independence. Let the Davos set have their panic attack. let the op-ed pages screech. While they scream about economic regression, we'll be quietly rebuilding what they sold off one shipping container at a time. That's all from Radio Farside, the only broadcast still legally allowed to use the word sovereignty in a sentence. We're creative anachronists for an authoritarian age, and that makes us dangerous. Subscribe. Stay sharp. And next time someone tells you tariffs are economic suicide, ask them how Detroit's been doing since free trade saved it. Until next time, keep your waves short and your view long.